So you're thinking about living in Fridley, Minnesota? Well, in this video, we're gonna let Google Maps do the talking and our fingertips do the walking. And make sure you stick around till the end, because we're gonna talk about some of the best kept secrets of restaurants, veterinary clinics, grocery stores, all that kind of fun logistical lifing stuff that y'all have to do when you move into the community, and we're gonna get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything that there is to know about living in Fridley, Minnesota, well, you've come to the right place. Click that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and smash that like button on the way in so you can be the first one to know about the current market in Fridley, Minnesota. Now, my name's Garrett Hilton. We get calls, texts, emails from people just like you every single day looking for help to make their move to Fridley, Minnesota. And we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We would be happy to make your move to Fridley, Minnesota a smooth one. Oh, and don't forget, all of our contact information is in the description below. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this right now. We're going to go ahead and pull up our screen share. Let's jump right in and kind of give you a tour of what is actually active in the city of Fridley, Minnesota, and give you a full Google map tour of the area of Fridley and the surroundings. Starting out, we're going to do actives. Ooh, it looks like we've got 18 matches. So that means we got 18 properties that are available in the small community or the small suburb of Minneapolis called Fridley, Minnesota. And if you look at my former videos that I've done on Fridley, we've got an expose on a really, really cool community co-op, like a thrift store, if you will, but not really. It's just a whole bunch of different sellers put together in a really neat industrial complex. It's kind of cool. So let's take a look at all these. Let's jump to the map. All right, we go right over here. And to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at, freehand polygon. So this is our extension here so that we can draw Fridley. This is kind of where, go like that, and along the Mississippi River. So this is your area around, Fridley. Essentially the city limits. It's pretty darn close. We'll get rid of that for now, just because it's a little bit really sharp. Okay, so if we're going through, we're gonna get rid of this plug-in for now, and let's look at, we've got a 6-bedroom, 2-bath for $289,000. We've got a nice place, a 4-bed, 2-bath for $409,000. Let's see, we've got a townhome for $231,000. Very, very doable price point. $375,000 on Altura Road, and a little bit on the more southern side of Fridley. And if you look here, you've got Highway 694 is kind of the main vein that crosses across the southern portion of Fridley, Minnesota, which is, it's a very main thoroughfare for traffic in the morning for those that are commuting to downtown or the western suburbs, or even, if anything, their connection of Highway 65, which runs through Columbia Heights on the western side of St. Anthony. We'll zoom on a tiny little bit. If you look over here, we've got New Brighton, that is to the east of Fridley. You've got Brooklyn Center, Mounds View, and if you know anything about me, I absolutely love the Mounds View School District, talk a lot about it, have advertised in the Mounds View School District for years and years and years, and which is one of the reasons why I talk about Fridley, just because it's a really nice, smaller suburban community, or a suburb of Minneapolis. And if we were to zoom out just a little bit more, see, Minneapolis is right there, and heading straight north into Fridley brings us all the way up through. You're going to get to Fridley from Minneapolis from, like, I would say Highway 94
all the way from Minneapolis. Another route that you could take to get to Fridley is if you were on the way west side, you could take Highway 100. That would connect you up with 694. And that, how long does that take? That's probably like a 15-minute drive, something like that, to the western suburbs over, let's say, over in like Minnetonka, Hopkins, St. Louis Park. There's lots of shopping over there. And into the southern part and the central part of Minneapolis, it's probably about 10 to 12 minutes away. So to kind of give you an idea. On the eastern side of things, you've got St. Paul over here. St. Paul is Eastern's counterpart of Minneapolis, and that's why they call it the Twin Cities, because both Minneapolis and St. Paul are basically sister cities, right? They connect to one another. You drive, as you're finishing up driving through one of them, you go right into the other one. St. Paul's on the east side, Minneapolis is on the west side. Just below, if you say probably about 15 minutes south of downtown Minneapolis, is the International Airport. So as it relates to Fridley, the international airport's probably about 22 minutes by car. By bus, it's probably an hour away, something along those lines. Tram, I'm not going to go into the communication methods as far as like the tram goes. I don't know a lot about that type of transit. I just know bus and car, or personal vehicle, personal motor vehicle. So just north of Spring Lake Park, we've got the Blaine area, and as you go into Blaine, very, very popular community, very, very large, and a little bit newer. Your average home build in like Spring Lake Park is probably in the 50s and 60s, maybe like borderline 40s. If you get more on the southern side of 694, you're going to see that. If you get north of 694 in this main trunk highway, which is called 47, we'll zoom in on that for you. That goes straight up through Fridley, all the way on up into Spring Lake, or through Spring Lake Park, and into Coon Rapids, Blaine area. And we can probably zoom that out and show you Coon Rapids. Highway 1047 goes all the way on out west to the Elk River area. And then if we were to go over where Fridley kind of bleeds onto Central Avenue a little bit, which is kind of great because that's where they house, Fridley houses a lot of the shopping. And so it's super, super convenient as it relates to grocery stores and all those types of things. And if we're going to go on a tour like that, we really, really, really am going to need some coffee. So I think what we could do is let's hop over and let's check out some coffee shops, shall we? Coffee shops in Fridley. You've got Caribou, like Caribou started in Minnesota. We've got a ton of them. We've got one in like every single community in the state of Minnesota, pretty much. In another video that I did about Fridley is the Clapping Monkey House of Coffee. That is right off of 47 on the main vein through Fridley, and this got a cool thrift shop, kind of a French parlor. Everybody snaps instead of actually clapping when they're listening to live music and live poetry being read. It's definitely got that type of a vibe. Perkins, pretty traditional all-American restaurant with just basic comfort food, kind of commercialized, and it seems like a lot of people are going more local, and that's Perkins kind of had its time back in the 90s. 90s, late 80s, they really, really rose up and became a large corporation. They're all over the place, especially in the state of Minnesota. They're starting to go out of business, or they're starting to close stores. So they're almost kind of becoming a relic, if you will. So I enjoy going to Perkins. They have an absolutely amazing Frisco burger. Freaking love it. Super delicious. Well, it's a patty melt, but it reminds me of the Frisco burger, like from Hardee's. I don't know if any of you are Hardee's fans, but Carl's Jr. if you're from out west, but Hardee's in the Midwest. Again, another Caribou Coffee. Sam's Club's got coffee even. Sam's Club is like is a grocery store of sorts, and I'll get into that in just a moment. Starbucks, of course, gotta have Starbucks. Dunkin' Donuts, we got Dunkin' Donuts here in Minnesota. We definitely have them. In the majority of our communities. They started popping up like crazy. I would say probably 5 years ago, Dunkin' really started investing in the state of Minnesota, And a lot of these Dunkin' Donut shops, just like a Starbucks or a Caribou Coffee, started showing up. And they were building a lot of new real estate, building out or developing a lot of new real estate. And in many cases, they were building multi-use type of buildings where they had like a Dunkin' Donuts attached to a nail shop, a jewelry store, and a something, and maybe even a gas station. So kind of cool. I liked how they developed it out. Brewhouse Coffee is another one. It's a small locally owned place. Really, really great coffee. I really enjoy, personally, big fan of Caribou Coffee. I like Caribou. They tend to attract some really, really cool employees. I like their training programs. I like the way they take care of their people. So in Fridley, there are 3 Caribou Coffees. So if you're psycho about Caribou Coffee like me, we got you covered. TSP Coffees and Teas, that's cool because it's more a little bit of the Asian flair, and so you're gonna have boba. There's gonna be some artisan tea companies that put their stock there, so a little bit cooler. And if you go, that's on Northtown Drive, so that would be, I believe that one is in Northtown, isn't it? Let me check. Let's zoom in on it, shall we? Yep, it is. That's actually in Northtown Mall. We'll talk about shopping in a second. So heading on over, man, talk about working up an appetite. All over the city of Fridley, it's getting me a little crazy. I want to run to Route 47. Route 47 Pub and Grill. Really, really great burgers. Really good burgers. Two Stooges Sports Bar and Grill. It's this absolutely massive place to go play pool. They have pool tournaments. I swear to goodness, this place is open like 24/7. It's awesome. They serve alcoholic beverages. You can get lunch, dinner. I don't think that they serve a breakfast. I think like they open at around, when do they open? Let's check their hours really quick. So I don't want to. Yeah, where are we at? What time are their hours? Open, closes at 12. Yeah, so they close at midnight, and yeah, they open at 11. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so they open at 11. Anyway, it's just, if you like playing pool or darts, that place is nuts. And they've got really, surprisingly, it makes you think of, it's kind of like a bowling alley when you go in there, but their food is surprisingly delicious. It's really, really good and very, very affordable. Good place to go, catch a game of 9-ball or 8-ball pool, and be able to enjoy some good food. So it's kind of nice. Again, we already talked about Perkins. Shortstop in Fridley, really, really great watering hole. Really good food. Do a lot of sporting events for like Vikings, Timberwolves, ... So if any of our local teams are playing, they are all about that kind of stuff. So you'll enjoy that. A little bit different demographic. The Hyderabad Indian Grill in Fridley has phenomenal traditional Indian cuisine, super yummy. Teppanyaki Grill and Supreme Buffet. It's like it's kind of like a Chinese buffet version kind of a place. They've got sushi and crab legs some nights and things to that effect. So it's an overall like stuff yourself silly kind of a place. And it's all you can eat. So, whatever. You can also buy it by the pound, I think. I think that's the thing where they give you like the clamshell thing or whatever. Yeah, love that. Applebee's Bar and Grill. Dude, Applebee's is starting to close their restaurants. I was totally I was alarmed. I'm like, really? They're going out of business? Well, maybe they are, but they're definitely closing quite a few restaurants. And Fridley is right, the Fridley one, if we grab the map and zoom in on it, Fridley's right essentially in the parking lot to Menards. And that's how I knew Applebee's, because back in the day, back in the 80s, it was the ground round. And Applebee's kind of bought up all of their real estate when they were starting to get big. So, and Applebee's has great food. And it's very super affordable, and it's very, you can rely on, kind of like, back in the day you used to be able to rely on Perkins. I know what kind of a flavor and what kind of a taste I'm going to get when I go to this restaurant. So, and they're pretty darn consistent, and I would say it's probably one of the better locations. King Thai Cuisine, another great one for Eastern flair type of fare. Great one. Let's see. Rinconcito Latino. I've never been there. That's kind of interesting. Let's look at this one. Where's that? Ooh, that's up more on the northern side of things, the northwestern side of Fridley, which is kind of off the beaten path. Okay, so it's I haven't been there yet, and I think I'm gonna go there now. That's kind of cool. I love that. All right, let's talk about again. Let's keep talking about Fridley and walking you through and kind of just giving you a feel for the lay of the land or the area. Religious centers, because when you're moving in, you may be considering moving into Fridley or seeing Fridley, and you're like, yeah, let's go there. Well, and asking yourself, okay, well, we need to have a church, or we need to have a religious organization like a mosque, or there needs to be a prayer center of sorts that adheres to our religion. More often than not, you've got Judeo-Christian organized religion, so Christian, like the different sects. We've got Methodist, Lutheran, evangelical Lutheran churches, traditional Lutheran churches, Catholic churches, and let's kind of run through those. We got Emmanuel Christian Center, which is an not evolution, but it is an evangelical Christian church. New Jerusalem Church, which would be a Jewish temple. Prayer Temple Church. I'm not quite sure what religion that they are asserting, but let's verify that. Let's look really quick, shall we? Come along with me as we check this out. And not much for. Let's see. We got a 360 view, and it's just a brick building. Okay. It says it's a prayer temple. I'm not 100% on what type of religion it is, but it says it's a prayer temple. Islamic Center of Minnesota. We'll click on that, and where are they? That's a place of worship, as well as it's also a school. Let's see, or an educational center, if you will. We got Emmanuel. We already talked about Emmanuel Christian Center. Pearls of Hope Community Center. It's a community church. Russian Orthodox Church. Oh, cool. I like that. Where's that? That's right here. Is that it? Oh, yeah. Let's flash in on that. So that's just north of 694. It's over by Moore Lake, which we're going to get to that next, and that's actually a really great segue. We can jump right into Parks and Recreation. One of the things that I've heard mentioned from people that are outside or more on like the southern deserty kind of states or coastal states is there aren't as many parks as like the state of Minnesota. And a lot of people when they come to Minnesota, they talk about, gosh, you guys have parks and places just to have lunch and do grilling and all that kind of stuff that they're free. You don't got to pay to go into them. Yeah, that's kind of a thing in the state of Minnesota. And if there's a lake, sometimes there's paid parking, but at least in the city of Fridley, there isn't any paid parking with the lakes that are. We have 1, 2, 3 of the 10,000 lakes in the city of Fridley, and one of those would be East Moore Lake. And that, we were to zoom in again, we talked about how Fridley is just kind of this whole area right here. And we'll draw a line shortly or slowly around Fridley for you. Okay, so let's zoom in on Highway 65, which splits East and West Moore Lake. Right down the center, there are residential properties that are on West Moore Lake, and East Moore Lake is bordered by Old Central, and you've got Moore Lake Park, which they just redid. It's absolutely beautiful, and you'd really, really love it. And there's, let's see, what's going on over here? We got Oak Hill Park, which is a pretty good sized place. Summit Square Park, kind of a basic, it's got some swing sets, some slides and stuff for the younger kids. It's great for the neighborhood. Commons Park is a little bit north of 694. Absolutely massive park. They've got ball fields, soccer fields, tennis courts, kind of cool. So it's a good place to go for like a Saturday afternoon, or that could be a good place to meet up with friends. And if you've got friends with you got smaller kiddos, for them just to kind of meet up, go run, burn off energy for the last part of the day or in the middle of the afternoon. And the cool part is it's embedded into the neighborhoods. So if you did live in that neighborhood, your kids could walk to the park. They could bike to the park. and it's a place that you know that they're going to be at. Now, there's a definite concentration or a change or a shift in how trustworthy parents are, because there's a concern around kids getting kidnapped and stuff. But if you're one of those parents that's like, just let them go to the park, and you trust your kids that way, that would be a good one. Send them along with your with your iWatch or something to that effect, so you can kind of keep track of them and you know where they are. Lock Park up in the northern the northern side of Fridley is definitely a good shot, good choice. It runs right along the river, so a place where you can take up your kayaks, you can go canoeing, maybe even take a small rowboat. You can rent that kind of stuff, and it brings you over into like Manneman Park, some really, really neat Babbling Creek kind of areas. You can do some fishing along that creek and along that river-ish kind of area. It's not really a river, it's more of a creek. But anyways, Manneman Park is just very, very beautiful. It's nice, it's lush, and it's a great place just to go relax and spend time with either family or your favorite person. Let's get a little bit north. Where are we? There's Madison Park. And this is what I wanted to talk about. Springbrook Nature Center. Springbrook is super, super great. They've got a huge, huge expansive wetland area, and it's they've got educational stuff like for the American Indian Foundation or like reservation or what have you. They do a lot of festivals over there, and that's really fun at the Springbrook Nature Center. That's why, see, I love Google Maps. Google Maps, they do such a beautiful job with their Google cars that they were driving around all those years and doing that like 3D 360 degree camera that allows you to just kind of like look around and do things. Let's click on that. And let's see if we can see a 360 view. Do we have that? All media. Street view. So here's the outside of some of the spaces in the Springbrook Nature Center. It's kind of cool. So they got walking trails and things like that you can walk through, and you feel like you're up north, but it's 5 minutes from everything. And you're right in there. So it's super cool. Let's hop over to, well, what are you going to do once you live in Fridley? Well, you're going to have to eat. And since discharging a firearm in Fridley is illegal, so you can't hunt bear or anything like that. So, got to be able to get groceries, right? Well, again, let's head back to the trusty Google Maps, baby. So, on the northern side, more on the northern side of Fridley, there's you're going to find more of your grocery stores, but still right along with 47. On the west side of 47 in Fridley, you've got Mike's Discount Foods. It's north of 694, and right along on the west side of 47, I love Mike's Discount Foods. I don't go there very often. I used to when I did a lot of juicing, and it because it's exactly what it is. It's Mike's Discount Foods. They get a lot. The vast majority, in my opinion, the vast majority of their vegetables are from like Whole Foods and stuff. It's just stuff that it's about ready to expire, and Whole Foods doesn't want to necessarily put out product like that. However, there's nothing wrong with the product itself. It's just some of it's battered and bruised, but it's cheaper, way cheaper at Mike's Discount Foods. I love that place. Bob's Produce Ranch. It's a great place. My grandma used to always go there because my dad grew up in Columbia Heights, which is just south of Fridley. And my grandma used to go to Bob's Produce all the time, and they have the freshest apples. They're so, so good. At least that was my experience, and it still is, because I think I stopped by there. I think this fall I stopped by there and bought a bushel of apples. Not a bushel, but like a bag of apples. And I get it. I'm from the Midwest. I say bag, weird. So just give me grace on that one. We got Aldi grocery store, Walmart Supercenters in Fridley, International Grocery and Halal grocery and Halal meat market. So for those of a more diverse grocery experience, there you go. Your traditional, at least in the state of Minnesota, Cub Foods. We've got them everywhere. They're like ants in every single community. And there's a couple of Aldi that are in Fridley, which is kind of nice because Aldi tends to be a little more affordable grocery option as it relates to like fruits, veggies, and meats. The Cub Foods of the world are, I would say, they're more affordable on like all the boxed goods and breads and things like that. Puja Grocers, that's an Asian grocer. They're great. For you pet lovers out there, we have one major boarding and vet clinic in Fridley. It's right in the main vein of Highway 65 or Central Avenue. That's absolutely phenomenal. And they've got a very, very good staff there, and I've heard great things about it. Got 4.7 stars. I mean, that's got to say something to you. And Google generally doesn't lie. I mean, especially when you've got 200 reviews. If you guys, if you've never tried, if you're not a self-employed business owner and you've never had to get reviews for something, that's kind of tough. Most of the time, people only talk about stuff when stuff's bad. To have 193 veterinarian reviews, that's a good place to take your dog, your cat, your bird, your ferret, your mice, your snakes. They do all types, so it's really, really, really inclusive and a very large place, and I definitely appreciate that. Fridley, like every other suburbanite community, has adult congregate living centers for those of you that are moving to a community and you're going to be taking parents with you that maybe they're about ready to transition to assisted care. There's quite a few in these areas like Fridley, Moundsview, New Brighton that are accepting senior citizens, and good place. You can move into Fridley and within 5 minutes of grandma's assisted living facility. So there are those types of options as well, and taking all types of insurance and of course private pay. Shopping. Last but not least, let's talk about shopping in Fridley. So now that you're going to be living in Fridley or the surrounding areas, the Google Maps say that there is a pile. We've got Moore Lake Common Shopping Center, which is a strip mall that is over on the eastern side of Fridley. And the Fridley Market is another one that is it's a shopping mall that's right off 694, super easy to get to. So if you're on your way home, it's a place where you can pick up some stuff. Fantasy Gifts, well, that's an adult gift store. We're not going to really focus on that one. Walmart, not that there's anything wrong with adult gifts, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. We have a Fantasy Gifts in Fridley, Minnesota. Walmart Supercenter is a fantastic place to be able to buy home goods and things of that nature. Plus, you can go grocery shopping there at the same time. Northtown Mall. When I was growing up as a kiddo, like that was a special treat if Mom would take us to Northtown Mall. Northtown Mall is the big mall, right? And it was probably built back in, I think it was built in like the 60s. Yeah, it's probably like the 60s, early 70s maybe. And it's your traditional indoor mall where you can walk. If you're a person in your later years and you don't want to be able to walk, you don't want to have to walk outside to get exercise, and you don't want to get a gym membership, you can go to the mall after 10 a.m. You can walk around the mall. It's a pretty sizable place, pretty good size. It also has a gym, Lifetime Fitness, attached to it. Duluth Trading Company is another kind of a mall situation that's there. If you zoom in on Fridley, right by 694 and Highway 47, there's a lot of big box stores that were huge in the 90s and early 2000s that are all still mainstays in this community. It was just the remaining real estate that was left over got swallowed up by the big box stores. They're still there. The cool part is in Fridley, shopping's a little bit quieter, and you've got these big, large stores with the same type of prices in all the major cities, the major metropolis type of cities that are super, super popular right now, but a little bit quieter community. So a little bit quieter shopping experience. I appreciate that simply because I generally am in there for a specific purpose, and I don't want to wait in a bunch of long lines when I actually have to go, because I know that it's pretty significant after the COVIDs happened, where people do a lot of online shopping. But you can also consider that, man, like there's some really great brick and mortar buildings that are really awesome shopping experiences, whether it's just for leisure, recreation, or if it's getting the things that you need because you can't wait for it to be shipped to you at your house. And just kind of flash back, 18 homes available on the market right now. So you guys, thank you for taking this time with me and walking through this. And that's Fridley.
Hey everybody, Garrett Hilton one last time here. Just wanted to say thank you so very much for watching the video today, and feel free to click the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, smash that like button on the way out. We would be happy to make your move to Fridley, Minnesota a smooth one. You stay classy.